Welcome to the Los Angeles Tribune page. Here you will find original news programming, exclusive digital events, and shows that are directly from the community. At the Los Angeles Tribune, we believe in giving a voice to the voiceless. We are proud to be the only national brand to empower everyday people to make a difference. Since 1886, our reputation has been built on truth and responsibility. Thank you for watching and making a difference.
For general inquiries, contact today. Thank you on behalf of the Los Angeles Tribune team.
Welcome to a celebration at the precipice of time, where the power of women knows no bounds. Experience Her Story Unfolding, a reawakening of our collective consciousness to the monumental achievements of our foremothers, a tribute to the battles they fought, rights they've secured, and paths they've paved that women all over the world are continuing to navigate and expand upon. Her stories are unfolding, empowering growing, building legacies of pioneering women by sharing their stories, celebrating their accomplishments, and embracing the rights and privileges they've bestowed to us for generations to come.
Welcome to another day of Her Story Unfolding, honoring women's legacy, past, present, and future. Today, we are honored to honor another woman who has done amazing, trailblazing, and phenomenal advances in the field of streaming, television, digital media. And with me is the director of our business solutions, Alicia Magnus Lewis. Alicia, how excited are you for today's broadcast?
Thank you, Ava. Hello, everyone. I am so delighted to be here again with you all today, celebrating Her Story Unfolding. As you may know or may not know, every day in the month of March, we at the Los Angeles Tribune are paying tribute to phenomenal women who are making strides, impact, and really just shaking things up across their industries. Today, we are so excited to have our guest, who we will introduce very shortly, join us to talk about the phenomenal work that she's doing in the entertainment and streaming business. And it would not be without the Los Angeles Tribune family and style that we have special guests that will be helping us to co-host today's very, very special program. So Ava, would love to hand it back to you to introduce our special co-host for today.
Well, of course, one of the things that we really believe in the Los Angeles Tribune and us women is that we never do things alone. We always do it as a team. It always takes a community to create the impact, to honor the people that are really transforming the world. And so we'd like to bring on stage today another co-host and friend of the Los Angeles Tribune, Julianne Myers. Julianne Myers, formerly Myers, is known as an entrepreneur and personal development specialist, particularly expert in the field of media and media coaching. She's the president of Achieve TV Network, and she elevates leaders in education and inspiration. Let me bring up on stage Julianne Myers. Julia, welcome. How excited are you for today's broadcast?
I have a little bit of a crush on Bonnie and what she's accomplished in the world and how she shows up as a strong person and a strong woman. So I'm excited for our conversation today.
Awesome. And Alicia, would you please introduce another executive producer that has just joined us? And I would love to be able to really honor her also in what she stands for, honoring women and what she believes. So if you could introduce our next guest.
Yes, for sure. And hello, Julianne. It's wonderful to have you on with us today. The next guest that we will be bringing on is Dr. Emily Letran, one of the co-producers of Her Story Unfolding. Dr. Emily Letran is such a transformational coach. She is a performance development coach. She is a doctor, a dentist. She has multiple practices. She is not new to the Los Angeles Tribune family, and we're so delighted to have her joining us here today. Hello, Dr. Emily. How are you today?
Hi, it is such an honor to be here. It's my, I don't know, I'm in awe. I'm in awe in what the Los Angeles Tribune has been doing and is doing more and more. And the more I learn about the organization, the more proud I am to be supporting the organization. And as somebody who come to this country as a refugee, overcoming challenges and hardships and be able to receive all the help from this wonderful country of ours with so much opportunity. I am so blessed to be able to be part of this project and to be able to support all of your mission. And how exciting it is for us to be able to recognize our fellow women, badass women. I mean, can we say that?
You can say
It,
that.
We can totally say
I,
You
that.
can definitely say that.
I do get in trouble for saying it, but sometimes I don't have a word to describe. I like exceptional, but badass is better. And I'm just so honored to be here. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, Dr. Emily. We are honored that you are joining us. One of the things that come to mind is the quote, "Good girls don't change the world." So yes, well, but this isn't exclusive to women. We at the Los Angeles Tribune, on behalf of our CEO Mo Rock, who's like a force for giving women voices and a platform for women, believe that men and women are equal. In that we complement each other, that we're stronger together. We're not better, and we're not over each other, but we're stronger together. And so, bringing up on stage is the nominator. Is that the right one? Is that the right word? Nominator.
Nominator.
The nominator of our awardee today. We've opened up the invitation to everyone, for everyone to nominate a woman that is not recognized as much, with as much impact, and that they're creating, and like really being a change maker in the world. And one of the nominations that came in is through a new partner of the Los Angeles Tribune online department, our business solutions department, who has been not definitely, I would say, a veteran. I don't know what his face would look like saying he's a veteran in the industry, of VP for sales of Tony Robbins and T. Harvecker, been in a lot of backstage support for different powerful voices. Bringing up on stage the nominator of our awardee today, Jim Miller.
Hello, Jim.
Hel-
How are you
Hello,
today? It
hello.
is
Thank you for having me here.
it is
I'm
so
very
great
excited.
to have you on our program today.
Thank
Jim, we
you.
know you're
Thank you.
a
I'm very
fellow at
excited.
the Harvard Institute of Coaching. You have an upcoming book coming out, and you're also a CEO of a performance coaching company. And it's so great to have you see and value and recognize women in the community. And it's very, very special that you have nominated the woman that we are honoring today. What does it mean for you, Jim, to be here and to be on Her Story Unfolding?
Well, first of all, thank you guys. There's no place that I would rather be than amongst a group of badass women. All throughout my career, I have witnessed badass women do some extraordinary things in life. And to be here today to honor not only a very deserving professional and executive, but also to a dear friend, somebody who goes back with me well over 20 years, about 20 years or so, that Bonnie and I first worked together as colleagues at Tony Robbins. So to be able to acknowledge the work that she's done, the success that I knew from the very beginning that Bonnie would be extraordinarily successful in life, simply because of the way that she approached her work, her attitude, the way she showed up, even her posture. I used to admire because it was just so elegant and professional. So for me to be here to nominate Bonnie is truly an honor for me.
That is amazing. And so, without further ado, let us bring on stage the CEO and founder of Binge Network with, you will have to correct me, Bonnie, if I'm wrong, over 1.5 million subscribers now with over 3,000 titles on the network. Bonnie Bruderer.
Hi, thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here, and thank you for all the kind words. I could cry. This is a very exciting day for me, so thank you.
Thank
You're
you for joining us,
welcome.
Bonnie. We're delighted to have you on ours as our guest today that we are honoring. Bonnie, you are CEO of Binge Networks, ahead of your time in many ways with the way that you were able to grow and scale the network and really step forward with all of the rich and vast content that you have. Bonnie, would love for you to take a moment to, before we dive into the work that you've done with Binge Networks, share a woman that has inspired you and why.
Oh, I mean, hands down, Oprah Winfrey. I love what she created. She set out, obviously we're all familiar with her interview career, her TV show running 25 years, but then launched her own network and has been really the champion behind so many great productions that have come out. Most recently, The Color Purple. But there's just so many movies that she's brought to light. And so I've always admired her and really, sort of like secretly had her as a mentor. I listen to everything that she does, every interview, and try to really adopt that same mindset in the company that I've created.
That's amazing, Bonnie. And she definitely is an inspiration to many. And Bonnie, would love, today's about you. So I wanted you to share who is a woman that has inspired you, but today is really about honoring you and all of the work that you've done. And would love for you to take an opportunity to share more about who you are, and how Binge Network came to be.
Sure. So who I am today, well, obviously I'm a CEO of a streaming company. We are an all-women, female-run, female-led, female working company. And so that takes a lot of my time. I'm also a mom to two very spicy toddlers. I have an almost 4-year-old daughter and an almost 3-year-old son. And really, I'm just someone that's passionate about life and about making, really creating the life that you want for yourself, whether that is being somebody that's able to juggle work-life balance, somebody that is able to provide opportunity for other people to work for your company, or just overall achieving any goal that I'm working on.
Thank you so much for that, Bonnie. We'd love to dive in more about your work at Binge Networks, but also before we go into that, we'd love to open the floor for Jim and Emily to ask you questions as well as Julianne.
Sure.
So Jim.
Yes.
I'd love to hear it off.
I want to ask Bonnie, when did you have the idea? What is it that sparked this idea to create this network and to really be a pioneer in streaming TV and the expansion that is almost daily? When I see all the announcements on LinkedIn, it's almost like a daily. You just got Canadian approval or certification as well.
Yeah,
I understand.
awesome.
Right? It's extremely, but when did you begin? When did you first have the inclination that this was going to be your path and your passion in life?
So, if I really was honest about when it began, it's sort of, Jim, when we worked together 20 years ago, when you think back about all we learned about mindset and about pushing through and persevering to get your goals, that was a really big part of it for me. But when Binge started back in 2014, I had just finished up a coaching certification at Columbia University. I started a TV show, which I thought would be about interviewing different coaches, authors, speakers, entrepreneurs, because that had been a huge part of my career, almost 2 decades, and quickly got bit by the TV bug, forgot about that goal. And sooner than I knew it, we'd produced over 700 episodes of that TV show. We had people flying in from literally all over the world, people from Dubai, people from all over the States. We had 8 spin-off TV shows. And then at the end of those first couple of years, I was not only exhausted, constantly stressed about, production schedules, editors, money, but also saw the immersion of the streaming world. And at that time, I had been very successful in getting some distribution deals from my own talk show. And I thought, hey, my background was in internet startups before the human potential space. And I feel like the streaming is the next sort of internet for, what's to come. Why don't we just offer distribution as a service and use what I did with my own show? So that's really how Binge got started as a network back in about 2016. We launched a platform. We offered distribution as a service for pretty much, we always say anyone with a video and a credit card, we would take on our platform. And we moved forward that way. We secured at that point 30 different distribution contracts with TV networks. Then it was 50, then 100, then 300. And these were all, through my negotiating and doing and going to the overseas markets. And it just sort of happened. It just kept evolving. And then about right when the pandemic started, two things happened. Number one, from just a global perspective, viewing behavior went up 10x. Streaming was the way that people were consuming content, and production stopped. And so the bigger companies started to realize, hey, this little guy has a very large catalog. We had about 15,000 videos and films at that time in our management. And we started to get contacted from big streaming companies to use some of our content. And so I immediately saw that opportunity, and we launched our, what is today our licensing and distribution arm of the company. And at that same time, we were lucky enough to bring on Allison Jernigan, who was a 20-year veteran at Cinemark, and she really up-leveled the content. She went through the platform and said, no more of this like credit card and video situation. We're bringing in film catalogs. We're bringing in top shows, Emmy award-winning shows. So I really have to credit her for the up-leveling of content, and then just sort of the fortuitous timing with COVID and so forth, and the need for more content.
Wow, what a great story. That's a journey, right?
It was a journey. I'll also say I had a newborn during that period of time. So I did not expect to be strapping her onto my chest and doing all these negotiations. But from 3 days old, Olive was a part of many of the big distribution deals that we have today.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Yeah, great journey. And that's certainly it's something that I would expect that you would do, that you've got that capacity. So thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Wow, thank you for sharing your journey. Dr. Emily, would love to open it up to you. I know you have some questions for Bonnie today.
Yes, well, Bonnie, what an inspiring journey. And, as a mom with kids and building an empire, there got to be challenges. There got to be times where you have to make a decision, right? Maybe it's do we go on? Do we split? Do we, take a different route? So I'm wondering, looking back at that journey, is there a moment where you say, I regret making such decision? In other words, if you were to do it over again, would you make any changes? Would you do anything differently?
Oh, that's such a loaded question. So honestly, I don't really regret my decisions. It's always been scrappy. I think as a true entrepreneur, business is always scrappy because you always have bigger ideas. You always have more that you want to do. Nothing is ever enough. You're constantly evolving. There's been 3 different times in the 10-year history of my business where we've had to completely pivot and shut off the revenue stream and refocus in a different direction. And that was very, very scary, but I always knew it was correct, and I have never regretted it. And so, I try to just learn from things rather than regret. I was thinking, like, would I have done it different? Would I have tried to secure millions of dollars in funding so none of that stress was there? If I did that, I don't know that it would have pushed me to go as far as it always has. So I truly don't have regrets, and I feel that each piece of the journey is very valuable.
Well, then I have a follow-up question. And it's great that you don't have regrets. So obviously you're creating a legacy, right?
Yes.
100 years from now, when people say the name Bonnie Bruderer, how would you like for them to remember you?
Really, as a pioneer in business and in media. I mean, the streaming world is an extremely male-dominated field. Companies, back when I got into this, there was a handful of companies. There was Roku, there was Apple TV. Today, there are tens of thousands, and everybody wants a streaming company. And we've just sort of stayed tried and true. We work with all the bigger players. We've had people try to come in and, laugh at doing deals with us, and then they've turned around years later and tried to buy us. The whole journey, just sort of like the whole gamut of all of it. But meanwhile, just keeping our head down and working and focused. So that's really how I want to be remembered, be it for Binge or just how I lead my life or as a parent. I really want to be that inspiration and that person that, goes the extra mile. Not, not letting, just sort of not letting the small stuff. It's such a cliche in the book and all those things, but really, like this morning, it was actually yesterday morning, I was so excited. I was getting this award, and the whole way to school I was being yelled at because the banana broke, in the car. And you just have to laugh at yourself because you're like, I have to get back and do some really important things. And I have a 3-year-old just getting so mad at me because I broke the banana. And so that I was feeding him. And it's just so trying to really level, and not get too caught up in the details, but at the same time, play a big game and try to be extraordinary at everything that you're doing.
Well, I don't want to hog the time, but do both of your kids have a YouTube channel?
They do not. I've been very cautious about that as far as, they appear in my Facebook, but I want them to make their own choices, and I don't want to draw them into, my world for any type of marketing. They're very cute, so I don't want to, use them for any marketing initiatives. I want to let them make their own decisions.
Thank
That is so great. And Bonnie, know that you on the Binge Network, you do have a lot of educational content for children on the network. What does that mean for you to be able to kind of bring that content to the network? And what kind of educational content do you look like when you're considering what you want to put in your content library?
Yeah, so becoming a parent, I became hyper aware of what people put out there and what your child is consuming, and things that we think are harmless, like Disney movies. I mean, I watched Peter Pan the other day and I was like, oh my God, even with all of the edits and all of the, political correctness and all the things they've done, it's like terrible in some ways as far as the message that's putting out there. So we really look for quality content. We look for a producer that has a heart story. So a lot of our content, came from someone's passion or having children and wanting to create something that was more educational and safe and just easy to consume for children. And also just making sure that the right messages are being put out there, not really focusing on finding the prince per se, but more Moana, like, let's go tackle the world. You become the hero of the village type of messaging.
I just love that. Something that you said before that I really want to touch on is that this is a male dominated area, and you have created a wave versus riding somebody else's wave. And so I love that, with your unique perspective, not only as a woman and as a mother, that you can notice things that maybe other people might not. Now, the thing that I always think about is, as the wave creator, there's people that are going to call you crazy, think you're bananas, you break the banana. How do you find the strength to just in yourself and your team to know that this is my next best move with the information that I have, and to create what nobody else has created before? Because that's got to be kind of lonely.
It is. It's a constant challenge, and really it's an inside game, like really working on my own inner dialogue, working on myself, making sure, I know my points. I hit one a couple of weeks ago and I was just so snappy with everyone on my team and so frustrated and like, this is not going to work kind of thing. We had some really big deals going on, and sometimes I'll just stop. Like, I'll shut the computer. I'll go for a walk down by the beach. I'm really into hot yoga, so I'll go to a hot yoga class or journal. Even sometimes I'll get up at like 4:30 in the morning, make a coffee, and go sit out and watch the moon. Like, things to fill myself up, because really at the end of the day, that's all that matters. If you're not fulfilled and you're not able to drive that vision for everybody else, none of the things, partnerships, logos matter. So that is something that, again, going back to the Tony Robbins days, like, I really learned that lesson. Start your morning strong, make sure you're taking care of yourself, and really inspiring others on my team to do the same. Everyone on my team is very hyper independent and self managed. I hate micromanaging, so they have to be, because otherwise they would get no interaction. But they just tend to be all stars in what they're doing. But I'm also very quick to forgive. Like if someone, they can just say to me, you know what, I'm having a rough day. I need to go take a bar class. I need to do this. It's like, okay, got it. Like hands off. I push, and then I get like, you need to take care of yourself. So yeah, so I think those things are really important in anything that you're doing, especially when you're pulled. Like I am a single mom, and I have the business all day. There is no breaks. It's either full on force here, full on force there. So it's really important to take a step back and really care. Drink the water, eat the right things, all the basics that and not getting focused on, like, one thing I think that I haven't done that I'm proud of is I don't try to fight the fight with the men. Like I just, you get a little, oh, that's so cute, you created a little app. I'm like, okay. But we've made millions of dollars in this streaming industry where most other companies can't find profitability. And so I just sort of stay in the background with that. I try not to fight that energy or get in those because it doesn't serve anything. And we don't really have anything to prove. We've been who we are. We're not the largest, we're not the smallest, and we're just steady Eddie. And that's served us well.
That's beautiful. Now, something else, this is a follow-up. You mentioned before that your team is all women. Was that intentional, or did it just, because it is such a male-dominated arena,
Yeah.
so to have all females is pretty impressive. Quality.
Thank you. It's very intentional now. It's ebbed and flowed. So in the early days when we were in production, I did have a male assistant, a showrunner, and then there was probably 20 people working for the show, and they were all women except for Taylor. And then after that, it just sort of, we had some men, we had some women, and then really I'd say it was about 4 or 5 years ago, we had the same team for quite some time. It sort of clicked that, wow, everyone is a woman. I think we're going to keep it this way on purpose. It was sort of back in the Me Too days, so that was a real popular thing to do. And it just has worked for us. We wouldn't not hire a man if he was going to bring something extraordinary to the table, but it just seems to work. And especially in this field, it's just, we're kind of a unicorn in that way, and that there are few and far between of us in this industry.
That's so inspiring, Bonnie. And everything that you said is so inspiring, because that's the way we run the Los Angeles Tribune, is also with such creative independence. Our CEO Mo Rock is someone who pretty much tells what's your idea, what do you think is best, and allows us the space to make mistake, allows us the space to not make the best decisions but learn from it. And I love your share on not regretting things but learning from. It takes the steps to be able to get to the top of the stairs, right?
Yes.
So I really appreciate you that. And I know, Dr. Emily, you have a flight, and you just wanted to really honor Bonnie with your presence. If you have to drop, we honor you. But I wanted to take the opportunity, while we have Jim and Dr. Emily, to really bring together right now the Tony Robbins energy. Like we all are familiar with that energy. Really to honor you, Bonnie, with the Pioneering Force in Television and Digital Media Award. And really, this is an award in recognition of a woman whose work in television, film, or digital media reflects it's Berg's legacy of creativity, leadership, and commitment. So we really, really appreciate you, Bonnie. You are a guiding light. You are an inspiration, for being a mom. And yes, this award goes for the bananas, the broken banana. We all like multitask and perform in many places. And, to have be in the world of men and be nominated by a man, we know that you're making your mark, you're making an impact, and the voices that you are allowing platforms for, because I know the Binge Network is, giving platforms for many voices. That the ripple effect of what you do goes far beyond what any of us can even perceive or see. Like here at the Los Angeles Tribune, we will have comments from Kenya, from South Africa, from Bangladesh, from Philippines. And so the shows that you create, it is in streaming, really are reaching the far ends of the world. And so we want to honor you for the magnanimous impact that you're creating, that no one, could ever fathom the effect of how far reaching it is. So thank you for the courage in doing the 10 years. leading to
Thank
where
you.
you are right now when you were ahead of your time and it didn't make sense at that time and you created all of the contents, but you stuck through all of the rough times. And we just want to honor you for being such a guiding light for all of us who think we're ahead of our time right now. Thank you. And with this,
Thank you.
I know Bonnie, you're excited to speak, but I still want to give the stage for Jim to honor you and Dr. Emily to honor you, and then you get to have a comment.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Bonnie.
Thank you so much. It is a huge honor.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're
Yes,
welcome.
yes. Congratulations. I'm so excited to hear that, you got kids and you're a single parent and you're doing it all, because there's so many of us who think that we need all the support before we can do something. And sometimes that support comes from ourselves, right? We bring our own joy, we bring our own energy. And I just want to let you know that those little people, they do grow up. They'll take care of their bananas at some point. And but they do hang around. I got three with me, 27, 23, 21, and they love you just when they were toddlers. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Dr. Emily, for joining us.
Thank you.
The
Bonnie,
one thing,
congratulations.
my one hope, Bonnie, is that you don't keep Bonnie a secret, that you get out in the world and inspire women, young women especially, who are looking for some sort of guiding light, some sort of certainty in life that they, in fact, can make a difference. And if you can get out in the world, Bonnie, and tell your story and give this inspiration to women throughout the world, this is my wish for you.
Thank you. It would be my pleasure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Bonnie. And now we give you the stage for what your thoughts are, what you'd like to be able to. It starts today. Jim's wish starts today that you get to empower and you get to tell your story. It's powerful and inspiring how Dr. Emily was inspired by how you're single and you're a single mom. You're doing this on your own and you're creating big things in the world, and not to have to wait for permission and not to have to wait for the perfect moment, because and not to wait for the kids to grow up or for them to be in school, but you're doing it all, and through it all, through all of the conditions and challenges and opportunities in life. So we'd like to give you the stage, Bonnie.
Thank you so much. I think, it is tremendously, I'm humbled. It is a huge honor. I think if I had any wisdom to share, it really is to go for what you want in life. Prior to, I didn't grow up with anything special. I always had everything that I needed, but no one, they're telling me like, hey, you can go have anything you want. And I really learned that, myself, a lot through Robbins, a lot through other means, and it really is true. You have to work really, really hard. That's what a lot of people don't understand, and I do work very, very hard to get what I want. My kids did not come to me easily. It's not easy every day. I mean, there's days that are just absolutely bonkers, both in business and in life, but if you persevere and you are really clear about what you want and why you want it, anything is possible in life. And that's really what I would want to inspire people. There's been so many times at my company where it was just looked impossible, probably was impossible. There was not a solution. And then all of a sudden you find one. So anyone that's experiencing challenges or having doubts or think, to your point, that you have to wait for a certain set of circumstances, you don't. You sacrifice in other areas like sleep and sanity and all of that, but you make up for it. So, so if there's something that you want in your life, go for it and go make it happen.
Thank you for that inspiration, Bonnie. And with that, Jim and I are going to go step back, and we'll have Julie and Alicia. I know they are so excited to really both honor you and also inspire our audience with your message. So
Excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you. I
you're
really appreciate it.
welcome.
And thank you, Jim, for this huge honor and for nominating me.
Thank you, Ava. Congratulations again, Bonnie. You are such a pioneer. We touched upon it earlier, but you were truly ahead of your time and kind of how you created Binge and curating such a large library of content. You spoke about it a little bit earlier. You mentioned that you made 3 big pivots with Binge Networks. What were those pivots, and how did you adapt to them or flex to them to figure out what was next for you and for Binge?
Sure. So the first big pivot was going from producing our own show into having a network. And that was huge because that's how we made our money. We were for pay for play network. People would pay to be on the show. We would get it distributed. And so when we decided to do a network, that was just insane at the time to cut off that revenue stream. But I saw that that was really where things were headed. And, again, 2016. So now it's streaming is an everyday word and everyone's doing it. The second time was like I said, when we up-leveled the content, because we had so many clients that were funding us, but then we realized we can't move forward. We can't work with like Tubi and Amazon Prime like we do today if we have all of this sort of like YouTube-y type of content on here that's not premium production. So we had to get rid of so many paying clients, which is so painful as a business owner. And we just weren't aligned at that time, but it ended up working out. And then really the third pivot was, do we expand? Do we grow? Do we, if we have one person doing all of the sales, do we have 10 and then we grow exponentially? Or do we try to really figure out what the wave of this future is and go, invest into that technology? And that's really where we are today. We just finished an 8-month project on instilling the technology that allows us to super bundle. So basically, when you buy like a new phone, Verizon will say, hey, you can pick 5 apps. And you go into their app store and you pick apps that you want. Binge will now be available for that type of opportunity for telecom companies, for banks, for retail, Walmart, all kinds of companies. So that is really where I see it going. But at the same time, I have to take my foot off, like being able to be involved in the sales process and drive revenues that way to create that opportunity. So those are the things that we've done. And it's really just been from following the trends. I go to as many of the markets as I can. I listen to all the experts. 7 years ago, I listened to the head of ABC, NBC, Fox talk about how they knew this industry was changing, but no one knew what was going to happen. And I was like, I kind of think I know what's going to happen. And that's when we evolved into the network. And so yeah, it's a very evolving process, and being able to not be dead set, which is crazy because I'm very stubborn. That's how I achieve my goals. But at the same time, I'm very open to just saying like, okay, maybe not. Maybe there's a different path that we should be on. So that's how we've done it.
That's amazing. And you talked about so much, but what I hear is transformation, innovation, progression. And it requires maybe sometimes taking a leap of faith and having faith in what is next. What do you do? Like earlier, you mentioned that sometimes you wake up at 4:30 in the morning and you sit up and watch the moon, but you worked in the development space before. What do you do when it comes to your mindset? And what are your morning routines and what really keeps you grounded in the fact that I have an idea, I have a vision, people around me may not understand it, but I have that faith in myself and I'm going to move forward? Like, what kind of goes into your mindset practices?
Yeah, I mean, morning routine is huge. So I make sure that I get up before the kids. I have to have coffee. I'm not going to lie about that. I need my coffee. And then I do like a meditation app that I do. And I like to it has some journaling, like some daily thoughts. It really inspires me to start my day strong and move forward. I do like to meditate, but I can't overstate that I do it too much, because I just like something will happen. Someone will wake up. I do try. But yoga is really huge for me, getting myself set up and scheduling it. Like, not just saying, like, I put it in my calendar twice a week. I make sure I drive like 25 minutes each way there and back, and make sure that is time. Like, nobody encroach on that. That's not time to like, ooh, this meeting's important. And really, just like I said, like, I rarely drink alcohol. I really try to drink lots of water and eat as healthy as I can. Like, just the things that are going to pull your energy. Everything is an exchange. So I always ask myself, like, what's the energy exchange here? Like, do I want to go to this event with all the moms, but I'm going to be out till 10:30 and then tomorrow I'll be tired? Sometimes the answer might be yes. Like, that might fuel me and fill my soul. Other times it might be depleting. So really being aware of that, because I have, limit, as we all do, but like there's no recharge time. It's not like, Saturday, I'll just lay in bed all day. It's like, nope, we have 4 birthday parties today. So, so just, being aware of all my decisions, and then not letting the negative creep in. Every time there's a doubt, asking what that's about, instead of listening to it and being afraid of it. And that's really important. And it's a constant management. You know, if it's silent, like I try to put on a podcast, I try to put on something to better myself at all times, a YouTube video, you know, anything that I can, versus like, I don't watch trash. I watch a lot of TV. I have to, because I run a streaming company and I love it. But I don't watch trash. I don't watch the reality shows or The Bachelor. Not that those aren't great, but for me, it doesn't do anything. You know, I need something to either transport me into the next idea or inspire me, or I do love a good cop show. But yeah, so those are the things that that I personally focus on, and just always making sure that, like, if there's something new, oh, a new vitamin, oh, this, you know, that I'm checking it out and seeing, hey, is that going to help me?
I love that. Something that I wanted to share with you too is that you've inspired me in particular. So I just wanted to say thank you. So you're actually physically seeing somebody today, the day of your award, that you have inspired, because I would not have the career I have right now if you hadn't been there to pave the way. So I mean, thank you. Thank you for that. I had to tell you that, because not everybody gets the opportunity to say that. And something that, you know, my business partner always says to me that I think is really hilarious is that everybody thinks you're crazy until you're done with it. And then they'll ask you how you did it. And so do you want to be crazy, or do you want people to ask you how you did it? And I'm curious, because you are such a trendsetter and somebody that just creates the next movement, or sees it and creates it. Is there something that you want to do that maybe seems impossible to you now, but you know that you're going to look crazy for a while, but it's going to happen?
I'm a little bit in the middle of that right now, with this whole bundling situation and all of the big companies and the telecom companies. And I'm literally like, do I just call Verizon and tell them that we want to do a deal? So like, that is my next big, huge project that I'm very excited about and I'm working on right now. Also just, you know, it's really fun for me to be, I was a filmmaker myself. And part of the reason that we put in the licensing department, we didn't talk about this, is that I just had such a terrible time and a terrible experience with an agent, and then the film distribution taking 2 years and then not seeing a dime from it. And I really like being a source for filmmakers and for content creators to get their films distributed, to make money from them. So I really want to become a household name for that. I want people to know, oh, you need to go to Binge Distribution for that, because that is really exciting. Like, the more money we can make for them, that makes me very happy. So yeah, those are really my two big things, is working with all of these big partnerships and getting our app into those hands and getting them to be the resellers for that. And then I do have a personal project that is very personal and near and dear to my heart that I would like to do someday when I have free time, you know, involving a TV show. It has to do with both of my children are adopted, and it has to do with the adoption process and the journey. And I would like to have some legislation around that. Like, I would like to be responsible for, I have some ideas for a bill to really help that industry, because it's a very corrupt, very dark, terrible in a lot of ways industry. So I would like to be a change maker there too, but right now I'm focused on the family and the professional goals, with that sort of like just in the background for a rainy day.
A rainy day.
Yeah.
Well, I know you'll make it happen even with the sun out. So
yeah, or next year once we get through these hurdles. But yeah, so those are really my goals and what I'm focused on.
I love that. That's so big. And I have no doubt that you're able to create those things in the world because of what you've already created, but also how you just show up. And, you know, there's so many women out there who are watching thinking, oh, well, I can't do what she does. Or you can always find an excuse or a reason not to move forward. And, you know, you've talked quite a bit, but you've shared a little bit about how you keep yourself full and able to sort of, I don't know, maybe like turn off that negative voice or flip it around and ask better questions. But as somebody who's kind of, for lack of better terminology, at the top of the pile, who do you turn to, and what would you suggest to somebody who's trying to actually fulfill their dreams?
Yeah, I mean, it is absolutely possible, because I didn't have any fresh start. I didn't have any financial investment. I didn't have any real skill set except for what I went out and sought. Like, I'm very voracious learner, reader, consumer of content. So that I got myself, but that's available to everybody, youtube.com. So, so I would just say, gosh, I mean, it's really, I look to so many different people. I still look to Oprah for inspiration every morning. I listen to Super Soul Sundays. I listen to NPR. I love How I Built This. I listen to that all Saturday when I'm doing food prep for the week. I listen to anything I really can, but also just whatever I need. So if I'm like, the other day, I was grappling with a very big decision, and no one was answering. Like, I was texting my friends, hey, can you chat? Hey, I need to chat. No one was available. So I'm like, okay, I'll listen to Mel Robbins. And literally within half an hour and a walk, down by the water, I sorted the whole thing out. And so really just knowing that there's a resource there for whatever it is. And that's really helped me a lot of just trying to figure out, okay, what do I need? And sometimes it is like, I need an ice cream sundae right now. And other times it is like, I need a professional. Like, I will go to a therapist, or I will go to whatever it takes to, an energy healer, a Reiki, to get through that next piece. And just knowing that it's not going to be easy. Like, it's not that it's just like, oh, great, this is all smooth sailing. It's hard every single day. And it's also great every single day. And it's a path. Everyone's path is going to look a little bit different. But again, I believe so strongly that if you have a vision and you're willing to put in the hard work, you can truly create anything.
I love that. I love that so much. I'm sorry, I just have to say one more thing. Something that really I find absolutely inspiring is that you don't sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
You're very honest, but sometimes the hard, and I discovered this for myself, is actually the happy. So I like that. I really love that you shared that.
I think too, the one thing that I've learned along the journey is that I think in our minds, at least for me, I used to always think like, oh, I'm going to get to this point and then it's not going to be hard anymore. I used to spend so much energy fighting that point. And now I'm just like, okay, game on. Like, what's today going to bring? And it's fine if it's super hard. It's great if it's not. Like, this is a fun day because we're doing this. And, but you never know what's coming. And I think that it's sort of like boxing, right? It's like left, right, left. And once you get comfortable with that versus trying to get to a place where it's going to be a certain way, it's just so much easier. It's, they say work-life balance. I'm like, I don't have any of that. I'm just busy all the time, and that's fine. And, but I don't do things that I don't want to do unless I have to. I don't do, like, I'm very careful with what I say yes to and what I say no to, because you have to be, you have to be when you have a lot on your plate. So, so hopefully that helps people that are thinking, can I do it? You can.
That's so beautiful. I mean, talk about an inspirational legacy, Bonnie. The work that you've done in the past has inspired Julianne, like she mentioned, the work that she's doing right now, and you're creating such a platform to create spaces for creatives to have their voices heard, their art seen in the future. Kind of curious, what would you tell your younger self, like your middle school self today, knowing what you know now and understanding where she might have been back then? What would you tell her?
Oh my gosh. Don't worry. It's all going to be fine. Like, really, I wish that is a regret. Not a regret because it got me to where I am, but I wish that I didn't stress about so many things. Like, I wish I wasn't worried about so many things that don't matter or aren't important. Back then, I mean, today, gosh, is so much harder with social media and all of the 24/7 that people have to combat, but worrying about the popular girl, or does someone like me, or am I going to get asked to the dance? Like, all those things end up working out if you just stay true to who you are. And that's really, I always say, I wish there was like a heartbreak pill you could take when you have that heartbreak that you think it's never going to end, but it's going to end, and then you're going to meet someone better. And that's the advice I would give. And it's funny you asked that, because I try to tell my kids that, like, I want to instill those things in them as much as I can, teach them, fill up your cup. We talk about stuff like that, even at their young ages. If they're 2 and 3 right now, soon to be 3 and 4. And it's like, we talk about those things. Like, what do you need? Do you need to go to your room and just take a little nap? What do you need to do? Because I think that stuff is so important, and we're not really taught that until we need it. And then it's usually too late.
No, that is very, very true. We're not taught that until it's too late. But, with some of the content on Binge Networks, I know a lot of it is educational. I'm sure some of it is teaching that through entertainment, which is a great way to learn. Julianne, thank you so much for joining us as being a co-host today. I know that you need to drop in a moment, but would love to, and we lost Bonnie for a moment, but would love for you to just reflect on what this experience and conversation with Bonnie has been like today, and how she has influenced some of the work that you do, and share some of that work.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as a president of Achieve TV, streaming television, here I am thinking I'm a pioneer. Nuh-uh.
Yes, you are. Your own right. Okay.
She paved the way. And she's right about it being male dominated. So I completely appreciate everything that she's created. But the thing that I really admire is this creating the wave and being willing to move forward, even though nobody else can see it. And also not putting in the energy with fighting the men because there's no point in that. There's no point in fighting the men. You should just focus on what you're doing and be the dark horse that comes up and is like, hey, see you later.
Need a ride?
Right. Sometimes it's like, you don't have to say anything. It's like, just do what you need to do, and time will tell. I always say time will tell.
Exactly. But thank you so much, Bonnie. I so appreciate the conversation with you today.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Julianne. Bonnie, so we've covered so much today. I'd love to learn more and for you to share more with our audience about what you've maybe done when you had an expectation and the reality was a little bit different, and how did you meet yourself in kind of the middle, and what did you do next? Whether it was with Binge Network, whether it was, working through and navigating through life and work, whether it was with your team of leaders that you have at the network. Sometimes we can have an expectation, reality doesn't reflect it, and we kind of are stuck in the middle. What are some things that you think about when you're in that space?
I just had a big whopper of one. And I think for me, it's learning, like, don't even go into the ditch, like just, and so there was a misunderstanding with this big partnership that we did. We had spent, as I said, months and months and upwards of $10,000 to make this all happen. And then there was like something that was misconstrued, and it was going to be a lot of extra work. And so when it happened, it was like, dun, 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 you feel like the cement and the weight of bricks on you. And I literally didn't even let it go all the way, like I just got off the elevator. I was like, no, I'm not going down. I'm getting off on this floor. And the next day I'm like, right, okay, well, here's what we have to do. Then we're going to have to establish a sales force, and we have to target these companies. And so I think that's been a very learned skill, because it's just natural to be like, poor me, oh my God, I thought this was going to happen, or blame, or whatever the case is. And there's no time. All it's going to do is take away from time. I know we can still accomplish the goal. It just was different than I thought. And I've had to do that a lot in business. And I think that's something that, it has to become a learned skill, just like running a mile or something like that. You have to train yourself on how to do that, because it hurts. It's, salt in the wound. It's disappointing, but there really isn't time to acknowledge that or feel that. You have to move forward.
Yeah, no, and you have to move forward and figure it out. And I love that you said it's a learned skill. School's amazing, but you can learn so much in what I like to call the school of life. You've done so much to expand your network, work on distribution deals, partnerships, bring creators in. What are some of the ways that you learn, right? Where there's always something to learn, and there's always a next level to go to. So what are some of the ways that you kind of continuously build on the skill sets that you have and that are always continuously evolving and expanding?
Yeah, always reading, always listening to, I read the industry trades, I read, newsletters, really try to get something from every single thing that I'm doing. So if I'm listening to a podcast, figuring out, okay, what are 3 things that I can take from this that I can, adapt to our business? Also just in conversations, like trying to stay open. Sometimes, when you have somewhere to go, or you have something to do, or you already know the answer, or you already told something, just trying to be patient in that moment. I couldn't even say the word. I'm like, patient, because I don't have any patience. to try to learn what's coming next. And I've had so many great ideas just from conversations or something that someone says, or a filmmaker, maybe they're driving me nuts and the conversation is going on and on and on, but all of a sudden they're spouting out all these other platforms that they're on, and I'm writing them down. I'm like, do a deal with this person. So really trying to make sure that every moment I'm spending is a good investment, and whatever that looks like. And like I said, I don't like to waste time, like no time. I hate wasting any time whatsoever. And so I just really like to make sure that what I'm doing is valuable. Even if I'm just, if I'm taking my kids, we've had 8 birthday parties this month. If I'm taking them to a birthday party, instead of being like, oh my God, another, ice cream sundae party, just figuring out like, oh, I wonder who I can meet. Like, I wonder whose parent might be something that either I could help with, or they could help, so just looking at things a little bit differently than the sort of, I think maybe most people look at it, just, I guess, adapting your mindset.
That mindset part is huge. And that adapting part, I love that you said adapting, because it's always changing. It's always changing. It's always evolving. It's been so wonderful to have you on, Bonnie.
Thank
I guess,
you.
what are I love hearing about your story. You knew your work before you joined today, but it's been really great to be on with you today. If you could please, Bonnie, what are 2 pieces of advice that you would want to leave with the young girls that are tuning in from all around the world, the women, around being themselves, growing up in this world, navigating what it is that they experience, whatever it is, but what are 2 or 3 pieces of advice that you could leave, particularly for the young girls that are tuning in, but really for everyone that is tuning in right now and who watches the replay?
Yeah, the first is don't be too concerned about what other people think. It's such a hard one to do, but even bosses, going back to, if I did have regrets, sometimes I stayed in situations professionally that didn't serve me and that brought me down or made me think, that I wasn't deserving of what I wanted or I couldn't do it. So I would say be very wary of what other people think of you. And then number 2, just the believe in yourself. Every single night when I put my kids to bed, I tell them a little bit different, but I tell my daughter, I say, dream big dreams. Okay. Like, I'm serious. And she like giggles and, they do, but I figure if I tell her that, 365 times a year by 18, it's been drilled in enough that she's going to go dream big dreams. With my son, I tell him, you're going to be extraordinary in this world. You're going to do great things. And he just, okay. And so, but I think that if you can tell yourself that, that's so important. Like, if somebody isn't there telling you that, then make sure that you're telling it to yourself, no matter if you're 5, if you're 10, if you're 30, if you're 60, like, that's really important, because the world is going to beat you down. It's rough out there. Like, people, especially if you're getting ahead, people want to pull you down. They want to, poke holes in it. Oh, that can't be that's not as good as Netflix. That's not this. They want to say whatever they want to say. And so you have to be strong in that, and you have to be solid in what you believe. And, and then you're just sort of riding by on the horse, like we talked about. It's like, okay, I'm sorry you feel that way. That's really important.
No, I love that. Dream big. That is something that we had Marielle Blanc on Her Story Unfolding yesterday. She's a healer, an energy coach. She's the author of Awakening Your Soul's Vibration. And something that we talked about was really dreaming big and pushing and elevating and expanding yourself. You mentioned earlier that sometimes you do Reiki energy work. How has energy played a role in your mindset and how you navigate through life and kind of maybe how you start your day?
I mean, energy is everything. Whatever you put your energy out, you're going to attract. So there are definitely days when I'm like, when I wake up, and then it's a bad day because you're attracting that everywhere you go. Yeah. I really try to turn it around. I try to, even in my most impatient moment, like at a Starbucks or a bank or whatever, I try to stop and be like, how's your day? Yeah. Even if I don't mean it, because I know that like you have to turn it back around and care about other people. And so that's the whole game, is managing your energy, managing your inner dialogue. Reiki has been huge with that. Anything really, yoga, meditation, just like the moon, moments with the moon, there's this new movement here. I think it's in LA too. I think it started in LA. It's called Mind Travel. And they do these really cool events, mostly at beaches here, because I'm in Florida, but they do it at the beach. And I just went to one the other night where they brought in a piano and it's silent, but you have headphones and there's a 2-hour concert and it's like this meditative journey.
Wow.
So like anything like that I can just put good stuff in makes such a difference. It will fuel you so that you can go and accomplish all those other things. And then so you can fend off those nasty comments or, I can't tell you how many times like I've been having a great day and then you get one customer service complaint or one person's crappy attitude and you're just like, Yeah. And so it's just about how do you pull yourself out of that? How do you just go, okay, but there's 200 other clients that are happy. So sorry.
Right. You cannot manage anyone else's energy, but you do have the first person's voice on your own energy. And that is really real. On behalf of the CEO of the Los Angeles Tribune, Mo Rock, and the editor-in-chief of the Los Angeles Tribune, Ava Emanuel, Bonnie, it has been a pleasure having you join us today for Her Story Unfolding. We called it Her Story Unfolding because the stories are continuing, and we know that yours is going to continue to evolve. You're going to continue to have impact and create space for all those that are working with you now, but that those that come behind you. So Bonnie, would love to bring it back to you to share your closing remarks before we close today's program. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you again. And thank you for this honor. Yeah. I mean, I've said it, I'll say it again. I really just dream big. Like that's my final thought, is just dream big, whatever that means to you.
Dream big, a message, a theme of the week. I just think it is a theme that resonates and it has so much impact. So thank you so much, Bonnie, for joining us. For those of you tuning in, this is another segment of Her Story Unfolding, where we are honoring women, leaders, pioneers all throughout the month of March. Bonnie, it has been a pleasure to have you on today's show. Thank you so much for joining, and we will continue to watch all of the amazing things that you do.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Welcome to a celebration at the precipice of time, where the power of women knows no bounds. Experience Her Story Unfolding, a reawakening of our collective consciousness to the monumental achievements of our foremothers, a tribute to the battles they fought, rights they've secured, and paths they've paved that women all over the world are continuing to navigate and expand upon. Her stories are unfolding, empowering growing, building legacies of pioneering women by sharing their stories, celebrating their accomplishments, and embracing the rights and privileges they've bestowed to us for generations to come.